After the country, this city to experience its diversity. Everything from sidewalk cafes to outdoor markets. Belgian cookies and tasty waffles can be savored for the price of a few francs. And the American French fry or pommes frites can tempt even the staunchest dieter. Shopping can be done in the Queen's Gallery, the world's first indoor mall, built in 1846. Fine lace, a Belgian export since the 16th century, has uncommon quality. Perhaps matched only by the brilliance of world-famous Belgian diamonds. Today we'll focus on gems of another kind, Olympic gymnasts, in particular Daniela Silvas of Romania, a dazzling performer who won 3 individual gold medals at the Olympic Games last summer. And the Soviet Union's Svetlana Boginskaya, another rising star who is also solid gold in Seoul. This is Exhibition Hall in Brussels on the grounds where the 1958 World's Fair was held. And this is the European Women's Gymnastics Championships. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Adamley along with Kathy Rigby-McCoy. And you know, Kathy, these gymnastics championships are the first major competition since the Olympic Games last summer in Seoul, Korea. And with that in mind, athletes from the 2 top teams in the world, Romania and the Soviet Union, will meet again in head-to-head competition. And today, the all-around title is at stake.
And Mike, to win the all-around competition, to be considered the best on all 4 events, is a true measure of excellence for a gymnast, especially at a competition of this importance. This is the premier event leading into the World Championships. Now, with the retirement of Olympic champion Elena Shushanova, this meet could provide the opportunity to see a classic duel between Daniela Silvas from Romania and Svetlana Boginskaya from the Soviet Union.
The all-around title is determined by the total number of points scored in each of 4 events, the vault, the uneven parallel bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise.
Now, the standings after the first rotation reflect this Soviet-Romanian duel. Knowing Boginskaya was Olympic gold medalist on this event, Daniela Silvas wanted to ace this Yurchenko full twisting vault. Now, with such stiff competition, she needs the momentum right from the beginning.
Daniela scored 9.975, good enough to move her into first place.
Also performing the same vault, Boginskaya exploded off the horse with great flair, but couldn't quite land as solid. Now, due to the luck of the draw, Silvas and Boginskaya follow each other throughout the competition, which makes it that much more pressuring for both.
This is the second rotation, and you are looking at the Soviet Union's Olga Strashiva in the vault.
And she really nails that Yurchenko full twisting vault. It's especially important. She had a knee injury during the 1988 Seoul Olympic Games. They carried her off the floor, but she's come back strong. And one of her greatest assets is she has tremendous upper body strength, and you'll see that as she leads the horse. Look how high she is, and she lands so solidly.
Olga scored 9.925 for a 2-event total of 19.812. The Biersill Castle dates back to the 13th century, and yes, it comes with a drawbridge. Inside a more modern structure, Exhibition Hall, competition underway in the second rotation. This is Romania's Daniela Silvas on the uneven parallel bars.
And Danielle's style has always been to go for broke, no holds barred. She isn't a cautious performer.
Daniela won the gold medal in Seoul, Korea in this event, scoring perfect 10s throughout the entire competition. She needs, Kathy, a 9.838 to overtake Olga Strashiva of the Soviet Union.
She has a big move coming up here. It's a reverse hack now. Her coach doesn't touch her, but he is there for safety purposes. Danielle has impeccable form. She doesn't give away points for form breaks or poor technique. And as required, her uneven bar composition is really diversified. Now watch this just not one more time. You can see that she gets great height on this front somi with a half twist and really lands it very well.
Daniela scored 9.962. Next up on the uneven bars, the Soviet Union's Svetlana Boginskaya. And even though she is a star, she is accorded no special treatment. She has to carry her own bags like the rest of her Soviet teammates. There's, of course, always constant hard work and preparation. And when training is not filling up her day, well, there's the perfunctory press conference under the watchful eye of her coach. Still, there's time for a few smiles and other diversions like shopping. And earlier, Kathy had a chance to talk to the talented 16-year-old and asked her about her hectic schedule and if there's any chance to relax.
There's no time for rest. I should be preparing always.
Kathy, I'm sure her coach would like that statement. A woman of few words, but she is a terrific gymnast and very, very dedicated, obviously.
Well, as we have found, Svetlana is very intense, no nonsense, hard-working attitude. And that certainly has helped her to quietly rise to the top of the ladder in gymnastics. And beautiful reverse hecht over that top bar. Such clean form. Very good swing, just what the judges are looking for. And by gymnastics standards, she's tall, but it doesn't seem to hamper her swing at all her speed. Here's a great view of the hands, really working the bars, helping with balance and timing. There's a tremendous amount of friction on the hands as you whip 90 to 100 pounds around that bar. It takes a long time to build up calluses tough enough to deal with it, and she doesn't even wear protective hand guards.
Bogunskaya scored 9.950, and that moves her into second place behind Daniela Silovas. But right now, we're looking at Henrietta Onati. She is competing on the balance beam. This is still the second rotation, and she's really one of the exciting young gymnasts in the world, just 15 years old.
It's always exciting to walk into an event like this and see someone with the potential to be a world beater. Onati has difficulty, style, personality, and she really captures the imagination of the crowd. Now, she has some work to be done, some form problems in different places, but so far on this event, right now, she's moving very well. Beautiful tumbling run. Slight break there, but the difficulty is enormous.
2 years ago, when Henrietta first competed in the American Cup at the age of 13, she stood only 4 feet tall. Now she's a towering 4'7".
I have to think that Henrietta's size gives her a bit of an advantage here in that she has such tiny feet, and the balance beam will seem a little wider than 4 inches wide. Here's the required full turn, a little bit flat with her foot on that. Obviously, toes pointed and straight legs are the requirement on every move, except when purposely bent. All those tiny little bobbles that you see do count, but there'll be time to make that up. Great talent here. On this innovative tumbling series, it's really important that Henrietta keep her body completely centered over that balance beam, even while twisting.
Henrietta scored 9.875, and that puts her into 4th place. So after 2 rotations, the standings look like this. Silovas and Bogunskaya still 1-2. Olga Strasheva from the Soviet Union has moved into 3rd. And a look at the historic monument outside of Brussels, the famous battle site. This is where Napoleon met his Waterloo.
Bigby McCoy for the conclusion of the European Women's Gymnastics Championships.
Competition underway here at the European Women's Gymnastics Championships. This is the 3rd rotation, and you're looking at Olga Strasheva, the Soviet Union. She has just waved to the judges. She is ready to go here at the uneven parallel bars.
And she mounts as if she shot out of a cannon. We've talked about her incredible power. On this particular event, she shows great strength. Look at the release moves. There's another one, a Ginger, right over the low bar. Great flair. And you'll see once again coming up, another release move, a reverse hecht way above that top bar. You don't get much better than this. And her double flyaway. Great exercise.
As you mentioned earlier, the thing that sets Olga apart, Kathy, her great power.
Now, these moves are difficult to just execute, but to add that maximum openness and swing is really to be rewarded. Watch this. She does a clear hip. Not only does she shoot to the top bar, but she adds a little extra arm movement there. Flair.
And listen to the crowd. A perfect 10 for Olga Strasheva, the first one given out here in these championships for women in Brussels. Broadcasters from all over Europe are in attendance. Their eyes will next be riveted on the leader after 2 rotations, Romania's Daniela Silovas. perhaps the finest all-around female gymnast in the world. Just one short summer and a hairstyle ago, Silva captured 3 individual gold medals in the Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. In 1987 at the European Championships, she also won 3 individual titles. And with so many honors already in her possession, Kathy asked Daniela what accomplishment she's most proud of.
Mă bucur de toate succesele mele și a întregii echipei.
I am glad of my own and my team's successes, but more than anything else, I am pleased with winning 3 Olympic gold medals. And to me, 1987 was as gratifying as the year of the Olympics.
Again, we're in the 3rd rotation. Daniela competing in the balance beam.
Besides being so physically talented, those medals come from consistency during competition and nerves of steel in a pressuring situation like she is right now. This is a great event for Danielle. She doesn't tend to be loose in the ankles or upper body. Getting ready for her tumbling series, one of the requirements. Back handspring 2 layout, and she just nails that landing. She plants herself securely. Here's her dance elements. Something that is being stressed a great deal on the floor exercise and balance beam, much more so than in the past. Light break there. Just off to the side a little bit. This routine must last 1:10 to 1:30. There's her acrobatic gymnastic combination. Gymnastic meaning dance elements. Her full turn requirement. We are getting down to the wire, however, and those little bobbles really may determine who wins the all-around here. And getting ready for her dismount now. Double back. Very good landing. Just a couple of bobbles in that routine. And like as you mentioned in the past, the secret of a great gymnast is to make every move look effortless. That's not to take anything away from the fact that these moves require precision, timing, and strength, and that margin for error is just so slight.
Daniela's score 9.925, and that's good enough to move her into first place after 3 rotations. As we mentioned, these championships are located at a very famous site. In 1958, the World's Fair was held here. The focal point was a giant aluminum structure known as the atomium, a reproduction of the molecule filled with exhibits that still stands today. Now, something far less conspicuous but equally gigantic in mass can be found behind the doors of Côte d'Or. It's specialty chocolate, and lots of it. This factory produces 180 tons of the sweet stuff daily. That's the equivalent weight of a 767 jumbo jet loaded to capacity. Now, it takes 2 days to make the finished product from raw material, and after 20 hours of arduous mixing, the chocolate finally hits the assembly line. The byproduct of 20 tons of hazelnuts, 40 tons of cocoa beans, 70 tons of sugar, 20 tons of milk, 30 tons of butter, and get this, no preservatives.
And the finished product. Now, Kathy, I don't know too much about gymnastics, but let me tell you something about this chocolate. It rates a perfect 10.
But do you know anything about manners? Do you have any more?
Oh, I'm sorry. What would my mother say about me? Here's a fresh one. This stuff is good, though.
Well, I don't know if Svetlana Boginskaya has a sweet tooth, but she can't afford one right now. She's next up on the balance beam. Boginskaya, this again in the 3rd rotation. But let's go back and look at the battle for 4th place.
Well, Romania's Gabriel Podorac scored the highest mark of the day on the vault with a 9.987, which again establishes the strength and depth of the Romanian team, a force to be reckoned with at the upcoming World Championships. Now, just behind Podorac, Henrietta Onati charmed the audience with her floor exercise. The judges weren't as enthusiastic, giving her her lowest mark of the day with a 9.837.
And so it is Boginskaya along with Romania's Daniela Silivas and Olga Strasheva of the Soviet Union who are waging the battle for first place. This is Svetlana Boginskaya.
And she throws caution to the wind with that front flip mount. Lots of risk there. And with all the butterflies she must be feeling after watching Silivas, she's nailing this balance beam routine so far. The dance combination here. Great lines. Really focusing on the end of that beam without breaking lines. Here showing a level change, another new requirement on the balance beam.
Something very classical about her performance.
And those long lines, those long legs and arms are really shown off here. Another requirement there, the full turn. And she's handling the pressure so well. Years of experience paying off. So far, no faults at all. You can see the concentration. A little preparation now as she tries to get all the way to the end of the beam to get enough momentum and space to execute this dismount. And you don't get much better than that.
Svetlana needed a score of better than 9.975 to overtake Daniela Silivas. And watch this mount again.
It takes a tremendous amount of upper body lift to get up and over on that beam, all the while trying to stay straight on that narrow apparatus.
And the mark for Boginskaya, 9.975, and that puts her in a tie with Daniela Silivas of Romania. So after 3 rotations, the standings look like this, and let's remember that Olga Strasheva of the Soviet Union very much in the title hunt. Now the 4th rotation. This is Strasheva on the balance beam.
Truly one of the most innovative gymnasts in the competition. Slight break there, but she covered up well. She has lots of difficulty and beautiful dance. And watch this move. One-arm handstand. Not quite held long enough. And she does a pirouette under herself right to her back. And that shows the level change.
And Kathy, she appears to be a fearless gymnast. She's not afraid to try a new wrinkle or add a new wrinkle to her routine if she needs to.
Well, in this day and age, you really can't be afraid to do that. Although on that particular leap, she's a little too cautious, holding back somewhat. And you see what it does? It gets your balance off just slightly. There it is again. You really have to go for every move.
And again, this was the event in the '88 Olympic Games where she injured her knee.
And that could be in the back of her mind. You know, with the difficulty level where it is, there's a lot more danger involved in all these moves. And in competition, when the adrenaline is running as it is, you just become that much stronger. And sometimes that throws the timing off. But let's see how she executes the dismount. Big step, over-rotated there, just slightly. Now, to get full credit for this one-arm handstand, she should have held it for at least 2 seconds. Nonetheless, the second part is so impressive. She has to maintain her balance, but her hips, her shoulders, all of that has to stay directly over the balance beam.
Olga's score 9.80, so after all 4 rotations, 39.612, the mark that Silivas and Boginskaya will have. Woman Daniela Silivas about to decide who will be crowned the European all-around gymnastics champion.
And if both gymnasts hit their routines, it's going to be a tough decision for the judges. You're going to see 2 completely different styles. Silivas, still somewhat of a pixie, has matured and a real crowd pleaser. Here's the combination tumbling run. She'll make one pass going this way towards us and then completely turn it around, punch front, right into another round off back handspring, double twist again.
Remember, Daniela and Boginskaya were tied after 3 rotations, and Svetlana Boginskaya is still to perform in the floor exercise as well.
And you can see with her style why she is such a crowd pleaser.
Defending Olympic champion in this event.
And it takes tremendous endurance for this last tumbling run. A double tuck. What a relief and what a great routine.
Daniela needed a 9.75 to move ahead of Olga Strasheva. I think she certainly got that because that was absolutely brilliant.
And she started off her exercise with this great combination tumbling run, and it really set the tone and the momentum for the entire exercise.
Daniela scored 9.987. She is thrilled, and now the picture is crystal clear for Svetlana Boginskaya of the Soviet Union. She needs to be flawless if she is to win the all-around title.
And this is truly an innovative routine, a somewhat risky style, very avant-garde, much different choreography than we've seen from the other competitors in the past. It will be a full-in, double back, and she lands it. You have to be very sound in your dance technique to pull this off. Extension, body lines, fluidity, timing with the music have to be placed perfectly. Otherwise, it looks like a mishmash of strange movements. And who better to do that than Boginskaya?
Boginskaya means goddess in Russian, and indeed there is something very majestic about the way she carries herself.
Flies through the air on that second tumbling run. So far, no mistake. It comes down to this last tumbling run. Double back, a more difficult ending than Silva. And this really is the most innovative routine I have seen in many years. Not only that, it was performed extremely well.
A good applause from the crowd, but not the same enthusiastic reaction that Daniela Silovas got. So perhaps they're a little bit confused, having not seen this style of innovation before.
Well, it's going to be a tough decision. With two such divergent styles, it takes experienced international judges like we have here to treat both exercises fairly.
Waiting for the score, and there it is. A perfect 10 for Svetlana Boginskaya, and she has never received a 10 before in competition in the floor exercise.
Well deserved.
What a milestone. Svetlana Boginskaya, the new all-around champion, but only by the barest of margins. Daniela Silovas of Romania had a day to remember as well. These European championships always seem to produce new and exciting faces, as well as gymnasts who could blossom into megastars. And what happened today in Brussels was no exception. That's our story. For Kathy Rigby-McCoy, I'm Mike Adamley saying so long from Brussels.